He tells them, I've come into the mall, I have my weapons, I've shot it up.
And the dispatch said, where are you? He said, follow the screams.
That was a Sunday. Sundays are usually fairly busy, a lot of families, a lot of kids. About 11:30 or noon, there were probably 25 to 30 people shopping in my store. I was up on a ladder in our front window, hanging Christmas balls from the ceiling. Joe was at the register doing transactions.
Ringing up customers at the cash register on that Sunday, I heard what sounded like to be fireworks that was down in the hallway of the mall in the corridor. And they got louder, they got clearer, and it took me a couple seconds to process that it was two different guns. Through my experience in Iraq, I recognized automatic gunfire.
I stood there just looking until I think I finally heard Joe say, "Cat, get down." And I got down off the ladder and behind the counter with him.
There was a lot of yelling and running. Everybody was running out the back of our store. As they ran out the back of our store to the outside, the gunman came into our store and was shooting up the walls, the ceilings, shooting up the cash registers.
The gunman, he was, I'd say, early 20s. He was dressed very well. It actually looked like he had just come from Sunday church. And here he is holding 2 rifles, ammo.
The shooter says, "Get up, move to the back of the store." At that point, I'm thinking, well, I think we're going to be held hostage. And so he moves us to the back of the store, where he then gives us orders and tells us, "I want you to barricade everything up to the front of the store. I want to make sure nobody can get back here. I want anybody to see us back here."
He told me that if I wasn't back in 30 seconds, that he would shoot Joe and John in the back of the head.
And he actually put his foot on my back and put the gun up to the back of my head and said, "I will kill you. I'm not afraid. I've already shot people. I'm not scared." He said, 3, 2, 1. "You're lucky she's doing the right thing. I'll let you live." He then sat us down, sat us up, put us in a little circle in front of him so we could see all of us.
The gunman told us that he was there that day because he wanted everybody to feel his pain, know his anger. He wanted to be heard.
He wanted to tell a story of when he was a child and he went to a summer camp that was sponsored by the police, where he felt like he was neglected. They were calling him names, they were cursing at him, he made him cry, and wouldn't let him call his family. He wanted to confront the police that were sponsoring that summer camp so we could tell them that how they changed his life. And eventually he told us that, "Today I'm going to die by a cop shooting me." He always kept the guns pointed at us. He just had them in his lap, one arm for each gun pointed at us at all times. That was probably the scary thing, is that he almost didn't show any emotion of what he had done. I couldn't read of what he was going to do because he was just emotionless.
He tells them, I've come into the mall, I have my weapons, I've shot it up, I may have killed somebody, and I have hostages. I've snapped, I've lost it.
And the dispatch said, where are you? He said, follow the screams.
He had gotten a hold of a negotiator finally and had asked that they bring those 2 officers down so he could talk to them.
After he called the 911 dispatch, he was talking to an old girlfriend. Seemed like he cared for her, and he was yelling at her saying, "I tried to commit suicide 3 times this year. What did you think? There's something wrong with me." He said, "I shot some people. I took some hostages. I'm gonna die today. I just wanted to call and say I love you and goodbye." All of a sudden, the electricity turns off and all the lights shut off. and my heart just jumps. I half expected SWAT or the police to come jumping in at that time.
It was very frightening because immediately he escalated kind of back into when he first came into the store. And in a way you could sense fear in him, but at the same time he still had his hands on those guns.
The gunman told John to sit up on a stool and keep watch on the front of the store to look for policemen or look for any kind of movement. John pointed to a bunch of boxes and said, I see some movement behind those boxes there. It's about 15 feet away. While we were moving the CD racks and barricading the front of the store, there was a little boy, seemed to maybe about 12 years old, that was grasping the very bottom of the rack. The kid was very frightened, very scared. He was crying, and he was asking me for help, saying, "Help me. Don't let him hurt me." And so I had to whisper to him, and I said, "Don't move, be quiet, don't talk." And I buried him with some boxes in the corner. So the gunman stood up and walked over to the boxes, moved a couple of them and said, "Hey, why don't you come on out?" I didn't know how he was going to react to it. I didn't know if he was going to be angry, if he was going to be upset, if he was going to explode, if he was going to shoot the kid. And he said, "Calm down. I'm not going to hurt you. Settle down. Why don't you come over here, sit down, and join them. Just go over there and sit down."
Gunman at this point is on the phone with a negotiator who is requesting that they be allowed to bring in medics to get the victim that was shot. And at first he said absolutely not. He didn't want anybody coming in. Probably after about 5 minutes or so, he decides that it would be okay if 2 medics came in, removed him as fast as they could. If that went well, then he would release the boy.
I kept calling my wife 2, 3, 4 times. I had to leave a message for her. And I said, "Amber, this is me. There's been a shooting in the mall. I'm being held hostage. I love you."
When I was talking to my parents, it was just trying to explain the situation the best I could without saying anything that might anger him. When I was listening to Joe and John both call their families and tell them, they were goodbye calls. And that was hard. He told him that he would be releasing him, that I would walk him up to the front and let him out. I did not think of running. I couldn't do it. It was my store. It was my employee and one of my customers. I felt like they were my responsibility.
The negotiator had contacted the gunman and told him that the police officers that he was looking for don't work there anymore. Doesn't have a way to find them. After he found out that he wasn't going to get, what he wanted out of his demands, his demeanor changed drastically. And the gunman asked him, "How many people did I shoot? Did I kill anybody?" And the gunman seemed very somber from the answer that he received. He started to cry harder at that point, and he said, "Do you think I'll get the death penalty?" And I said, "You shot 7 people, you might have killed somebody. That's what they give out the death penalty for." I told him to give his guns to me. So we took them off his shoulder, I unloaded them and took them apart so they couldn't be used again, and I moved them to the other side of the store so that we were safe, that this was it, that he doesn't have any more power. My wife ran up to me and gave me a big hug, and I broke down crying. It was just an overwhelming experience to be in the arms of the one I love again after surviving all of that